everyone. This is your favorite attorney, Waukesha, and I am back for another segment of Talk That Talk Thursday. I appreciate you all tuning in. I am still on a high. From last week, we had the watch party for the episode that I filmed, the documentary that I filmed on A&E. If you have not watched it, I want you to go in and watch. Please check it out. It's called Accused, Guilty or Innocent, and it aired on A&E. It is season 7, episodes 13 and 14. The watch party was lit. I'm going to have some people tune in and give us a shout out. We had some great food. I want to shout out 1811 Catering. They did such a great job catering the food for us. The food was delicious, and we were at Red River Distillery. So the venue was also amazing. We had such a wonderful time. We had a really good turnout. The drinks were flowing and the episodes were great. It was good seeing myself on television because of course, I don't really do a whole lot of documentaries. I've been on the news before to answer legal questions, but that was definitely a first, and I was super excited. So you all tune in. It's A&E, Accused, Guilty or Innocent, season 7, episodes 13 and 14. It originally aired this past Thursday on June 5th. So I'm super excited about that. But last week or a couple of weeks ago, we were asking questions. Everybody could ask questions, and we answered those questions for you. So I want to go ahead and answer some more questions for you. And I didn't get through all of them last time. So let's get started. So one of our first questions is, can you get a DUI if you are not driving the vehicle? And the answer to that is yes, you actually can get a DUI, although you may not be driving the vehicle. So when you are driving under the influence, which we know we should not be, you have to make sure you put in certain precautions so that you don't get a ticket. One of those precautions that you need to put in is you need to not be in the front seat of the car. You really don't need to be in the car at all. But if you are in the car, these are the tips I would give you as a criminal defense attorney. You do not need to be in the front seat. You need to be in the back seat of the car. You do not need to have the keys in the ignition. So make sure the keys are out of the ignition or the keys are actually put away. The car does not need to be running or on, so the car doesn't need to be on. And you need to make sure you're nowhere near that driver's seat. Do not be in the driver's seat. So first and foremost, don't drive drunk, right? Don't drive if you're inebriated. We have too many other things that we could be doing. We can get an Uber, we can get a Lyft. So there are other, other ways of transportation if we had some drinks that night. But if you are in the car, so that you do not get a DUI, you need to not be in that driver's seat. You do not need to have the keys in the ignition. The car does not need to be running, and the keys do not need to be next to you. So preferably be in the back seat of the car. The car does not need to be on. Put those keys away so that it does not look like you are driving. But overall, do not get in the car to drive after you've been drinking. That's ultimately the goal, because you don't want the suspicion. You don't want any reasonable suspicion. You don't want the police to think that you were driving that car. I've had that situation happen before where a young man was driving a car. He was too drunk to drive and did not realize it initially. He pulled over to the side of the road and took a nap. But when he pulled over to the side of the road, he was in the front seat. I believe it was cold, so the car was running because he wanted the heat to be on. And of course, the keys were in the ignition or near the ignition. We have these cars now that are fancy, so you don't actually put the key in the ignition. And they charged him with DUI, and the police can charge you with a DUI. So I just want to put that out there. Don't drink and drive ultimately. We want you to be safe. But if you are drinking, then don't drive. Don't even get in the car if you can help it. Call an Uber, call a Lyft, because we want you to be safe. But if you do get in the car and you might have been inebriated, call the Hazard Law Firm, because we would love, 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 love to help you. Okay, so we'll go to our next question. Our next question is there any way for me to get my case off of the grand jury quicker? So in criminal defense work, we have a process. Your case normally starts at the district court level, and then once you are indicted, it goes to the circuit court. To circuit court, you have to go through a process where the case goes through the grand jury. And that process going through the grand jury can take a while. Let me tell you why that process takes a while. If you have a drug case and that drug case has to go from district court to circuit court, there has to be a toxicology report to confirm and determine exactly what that drug is. The Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences are a little behind, so it takes a while for them to test all of these drugs that are coming through to them after it's sent to them by the authorities to be tested. So the reason the process can take a little bit longer for certain cases is because there has to be certain things in place for that particular person, that defendant, to be indicted. One of those things is with drug cases, you have to have a toxicology report before that case can come off of the grand jury and before you can get into the trial court, which is circuit court here in the state of Alabama. Other cases like capital murder cases where someone was killed, cases that involve maybe a victim, like a receiving stolen property case, those cases tend to come off the grand jury quicker, because it's not necessarily going to a third party entity for it to be tested or anything. Capital murder, somebody was killed, and they can usually fast track those types of cases through that grand jury process. And they put those on the grand jury quicker because someone lost their life. And then it comes off the grand jury quicker into, circuit court. And Attorney Fikes brings up a very good point. At times when we were back in our deep COVID days, COVID also caused a lot of disruption to that grand jury process because of the stay in place ordinance that was put in, not being close to anyone, being so many feet from people. So COVID definitely put a disruption into that grand jury process. But there are certain things that you can put into place when your case is just pending grand jury and it's been a while. One of the remedies that we may file for our clients is a motion for speedy trial. So if your case has been pending grand jury indictment for years, because that actually can happen, then we want to put in that motion for a speedy trial because we want to help our clients. How can we get this dismissed? We've put in those motions before, and we have been very successful in getting cases dismissed that were pending grand jury and nothing was happening. They were just sitting there. So that is one of the remedies that you can have to get your case through quicker, is to file a motion for speedy trial. So if you have an issue where you were charged with a crime and you're finished with district court, it's pending grand jury review, and it's just been sitting there, give us a call. We would love to help you. The motion for speedy trial is not our only remedy. So there are some other options that we have, which we can put in place, pulling your case off the grand jury if we need to get to a quicker resolution. So those are some of the things. And another question, the final question I'll answer for this morning on Talk That Talk Thursday: can the police lie to you during an interrogation? And the answer to that is actually yes. The police can lie to you during an interrogation, and the police do lie to you during an interrogation. My motto, if you've been watching me for a while, I'm always going to tell you, listen, don't talk to the police. So you need to be careful. You need to be cautious. My first remedy for you would be to call an attorney. If the police needs to talk to you, you need to call an attorney. If you get arrested on the spot and you're taken to the station, you need to ask for an attorney. you need to ask for an attorney. That is always the better option instead of just talking to the police. If you're not sure what's going to happen, if you think you might have gotten yourself caught up in in some kind of crime, you don't need to talk to the police. Don't talk to them. Get an attorney. We can talk to the police for you. If push comes to shove, we can get in there. We can ask questions. We want to be the mouthpiece for those people that may be charged with crimes. So ultimately, don't talk to the police. But the answer to that question is yes, the police can definitely lie to you during an interrogation. We don't want that. We don't want you to even be interrogated. So it is always our policy here at the Hazard Law Firm, and we do a whole lot of criminal defense work, is for you to not even talk to the police. And if you are incarcerated, you need to immediately tell them that you want to speak with your attorney. And if they won't let you call, but you call a family member, have that family member call us so that we can get involved. We want to help you. We want you to be safe. We want your constitutional rights to be protected. And that is ultimately what this is about. You're not being mean. You're not being evasive. You're not being rude or belligerent. You are just protecting your constitutional rights. And we can do that best. We know what can be said, what doesn't need to be said. And a lot of people that get pulled in by the police, they don't know what to say. They don't know how to say it. They don't know how much to say. They don't know when to stop talking. So just to avoid any type of ambiguity or any type of to make yourself look guilty. We don't want you to look guilty. You just need to ask for an attorney, and you need to call the Hazard Law Firm, because we are here to help, and we can help you navigate any of those situations that you may have. Well, I have a few more questions, but I am out of time. So I will definitely be back tomorrow or next week to answer more of your questions. I'm going to post the question here in the chat so that you all can ask questions and I can answer those and go live to answer all those questions. We are offering a special right now where we are doing free consultations. We would like for you all to engage in that. We would like for you all to hire us for whatever legal issue you may have. But we do criminal defense work, and we just love to help you. Thank you all so much for listening and for joining in. And until next time, this is your favorite attorney, Waukesha. Give us a call, 205-521-7378. We love to talk with you. Bye.